Peace and plants, everybody, and good morning to you. So let's get right into it. Oh, my seatbelt. Let's get right into it, though. Today's video is going to be about our magical moss. See, when I tell you something, I mean it. I said I was going to tell you about this. This is a very intense, this is one of my favorite, topics to speak about in general when it has to do with plants because of the magic that comes from it. So moss is found in many forms. Sometimes you can get it dead, sometimes you can get it living, but really no matter which way you get it, it still is a great source for propagation use. I use moss with all of my propagations, honestly. I'll show you in a later video when we get back exactly what I do with the moss and how I do it. I kind of showed you guys a little bit, but that moss promotes so many roots. I'm telling you, it's like oxygen, and you just spray it a little bit with water, keep it damp at all times whenever you're doing propagations, or if you want to promote aerial roots. Remember I said about how to promote aerial roots. When we think about a moss pole, what is a moss pole? It's moss on a pole. And moss on a pole, again, is that oxygen, it's that life, it's that factor that plants need in order to go to the next level of giving out their aerial roots, especially with our tropical plants. Let me turn this air on. The Georgia heat ain't no joke. All right. So, especially when it has to do with the promotion of our aerial roots. Very, very easy thing to do. I like to propagate all of my plants in the moss. All of them. It takes about, I'm telling you, like 3 or 4 days for you to see a change. Now, remember, when you are doing your propagations, always, I'm not sure if you seen my video a few days ago I put out, always let your plant sit out, preferably outside, so it can get some air and some natural, everything natural, right? You want to let that cut dry. It's just like if you cut your finger, you don't just you want it to heal. You have to put something over it. You got to stop that bleeding, right? That's what you do with your propagations, with your house plants, and pretty much with every propagation. You don't want it to still be wet. You don't want it to still have that cut open. Now, back to the moss. Once everything is done, once everything is dry, you don't always have to cut wherever you see an aerial root. You can create the aerial root, but you must know where the aerial roots are created so you know where to place your moss. Now, there are many different ways of how to place moss, and some people use twist ties, some people use bags, some people put their plants in. I'm going to show you a very easy and free thing that I do. Always remember, everything I deal with in agriculture is free because nature is free. The birds are free. Listen, we don't have to pay to hear the birds singing. We don't have to pay to hear that concert. We don't have to pay for the sun to come up. So there is nothing in agriculture that I believe that you should pay for. You can make it yourself. You can create it yourself. You can manifest. You can ask a friend. You have to get in that zone. Remember what I talk about always of slowing down, slow your heart rate down, slow your breathing down, and then you'll come up with a lot of ideas that you never thought were possible, okay? So, back to that magical moss. Excuse me. Always have moss in your collection. Now, you may see it spelled sphagnum moss, SPHAGNUM, sphagnum moss. Now this, you may see it just regular moss. What I like to do is I like to get it from Lowe's. They're not doing a promotion right now for me, but I like to get it from Lowe's. Sometimes I do Amazon. Most of the time I do Amazon. But if I'm having, if things are, time constraints, I go right to Lowe's. It's about 5 minutes away from where I am. And I get the block of moss. Guys, you need this in your collection. If you have pots, if you have soil, why you ain't got moss? Now, another thing that I use moss for, remember I said, is when you're making your soil. When you're making your soil, you add different components, and moss is one of the components. The only types of plants that I do not use my moss with in the soil, okay? Not even above the soil, is my succulents and my cacti. Why? Didn't I just tell you about that moss? It's like a sponge. Look at the last video. It is like a sponge. If you put that water in there, and it will hold water. It'll release the water as needed to your roots, to your plants. Your plants are very, very intelligent, mind you. Don't think you're pulling a fast one on them. So go ahead and do it like that. But if you do it with that, with succulents and cacti, your desert plants and things like that, that's too much water. That's too much water. We all know the rule when it comes to cacti and stuff. You do not water it all the time. See, I have a rule on that one too. Very easy. My plants don't die on me because I listen to nature and I listen to what they want, how they want it to be done. I urge everyone, when you buy a new plant, I mean, you can always ask me. You can always come here and go to Peacenplants, but I urge you to go within. I urge you to go within and connect with that plant. The plant will tell you what kind of soil it wants. I'm telling you. You just keep watching my videos and you'll understand what I'm saying. But the plant speaks. There is a language that nature is on. It's like a metaphysical, okay, frequency that you have to understand. But you got to slow down in order to understand what they're saying. You don't need any labels. You don't need any names of any plants. You can look at the plant. And if a plant is doing this, you'll know. If it's going to, you know, if certain things are going south, you'll know exactly which, oh, this might be it. And you just keep trying different things until you figure it out. So through trial and error, back to the moss again, I did find that. I found the moss. I mean, I used to use it sometimes. I didn't really understand. I'm like, damn, wow, look at this, the roots, you know. But I'm not really, you got to slow down. Even me, myself, at times, I move fast. My mind moves so fast, so fast, so fast. So when I'm doing things, I don't realize the significance. But when you slow down, I always have a stopwatch on my life for every week, almost like a clock, right? And every week, the beginning of the week, I slow down. I dedicate my week to slowing down, to hearing what needs to be said, to being a channel so that I can go ahead and do. All right. So, guys, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Make sure to like this video, comment on this video. I am loving the energy that I'm getting from everybody. I really, really am. I'm going to keep doing these videos. These topics and these tips that I have are very, very simple. Very simple. And I'm going to always do a tutorial. Remember, I told you I came from a vocational school. So I'm going to talk about it. This is like teacher time. This is lesson time right now. And then we will do it. So later on today, I actually have two videos I want to show you guys. I don't want to cram you too much, but I have another video. But later on today, I'm going to show you the tutorial, the actual, you know, I want you guys to get dirty, get your hands ready. Right now, if you can, go ahead out in there and get some moss. If you don't, just remember what I'm saying and just engage with me. And we're going to do it. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you some actual plants that are progressing in this moss. I'm going to show you some plants that are only in moss and have only been in moss. I'm going to show you the resilience of these tropical plants in general. All right. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Over and out. Peace and plants. Much love, y'all.